Beers with Chad. Hey everybody, Chad Wesley Smith here, Beers with Chad. Today I am joined by Team Juggernaut lifter, the Super Total King himself, James Townsend. I talked with James about his NFL career from a youth player through a high school star, college, transferring, a practice squad player for the Bears, kind of the ups and downs of his career. I learned some stuff about James that I'd never known before in the 6 or 7 years that I've known him. So always a great time talking with James, as well as talking about some youth athletic training, because if you haven't seen his daughters, Princess P and Freya, on Instagram, they're incredible to watch, lifting, their passion for fitness. So we talk about some of his ideas in regards to youth training and how he sort of manages the expectations for his exceptional daughters. So I'm drinking my favorite beer, Alpine Duet. That really is my favorite. And if you are interested in all that Juggernaut has to offer, online coaching, books, apparel, you can visit jtsstrength.com. Make sure to drop a 5-star review here for the podcast, subscribe, and enjoy the episode. Cheers, brother. Good to have you out here.
Thank you.
So I was sending my boy Dustin, the 49ers strength coach, I sent him the video of you doing clean and jerks, and I was like, I know you guys had another wide receiver get hurt yesterday, so I'm just saying, if you get a call, you would be my second guy on the 49ers this week. But you think you could still line it up a little bit?
Probably, if my hamstrings hold up. Yeah. But it's never easy just running back into football like that, like the cuts and sprints. Like, you literally have to retrain. I think for me, it would probably take me a good 2-3 weeks, get my legs back in the
whole 2 or 3 weeks, and then you're ready to go.
Ready to go.
How would you say physically you compare now to when you were playing football?
Way stronger, way explosive, way more explosive, much smarter. I'm moving better, because when you get with certain college coaches, and I even still see it now, that like you see videos of guys lifting and the technique is just not there. If the technique was more explained to the guys, and then you would see more beasts coming out of weight rooms from football players.
So as you look back at your career, let's kind of, high school, you're playing in New Jersey.
South Jersey. Yeah.
Right. So, how renowned were you as a high school player?
All-American.
Yeah.
All-American after my sophomore year. Me, my best friend Wally Lundy, he was an All-American running back. He played at University of Virginia.
Yeah, I remember the name, yeah.
Brian Bennett, he was our linebacker. He played at Pittsburgh. He was All-American in high school, and then it was me, the wide receiver. So we were like the three-headed monsters, And so by me also running track too, it was just, I was All-American in the 100 and 200.
10:32 and the 100, right?
Yeah.
That's the time.
10:29.
10:29.
Yeah.
Right.
And then 20.9.
I've been shorting you 3/10 when or 300s when I brag about you to people. So then you go from there to University of Iowa.
University of Iowa, yeah.
And what was describe your Iowa career?
Man, if I truly believe if I'd had a better direction, somebody, if I would have had a more male prominent figure in my life that helped me control what better school to go to, that works better for me and my skill set as a wide receiver, it would have panned out better. Like, going to Iowa is great overall as a school. My teammates there, Bob Sanders, Robert Gallery, Greenway, Calvin Davis, and all of them. But it's not a fit for a person of my skill set. And as you can see with the climate now with Iowa, you can see.
Well, I guess it is kind of a surprising decision for a kid from Brooklyn who's playing ball in
Bronx
and playing ball in New Jersey. Iowa is kind of, I mean, yeah, it's like a prominent football school, but it's
Right.
a big, that's a big departure from where you
Right.
grew
Well,
up.
in that time, what 02, 03 was like, running back schools. Like Iowa would have been a running back school. There was no way I should have, as a wide receiver, should have committed to go to Iowa. I should have went to Miami or Texas Tech or something. But like I said, if I'd had a male figure, a dominant male figure in my life, that person would have kept me on straight. I wouldn't have made my decision to go to Iowa because it was a party school and girls, and that was my decision on going to Iowa. But
Like those farm girls.
partying, and and I mean, it all worked out because I met my wife there. But as a football player, wide receiver, fast, coming in running a 4.35, that's not a good decision. So, I mean, my career there, I started as a true freshman, but I was more so of a blocker, or like the scheme and the offense just wasn't for my skill set. Like me being a fast guy, you would think, all right, this guy is fast. He's the fastest guy on our team. Let's put him at X. Let's go deep with him. Probably only went deep to me 2 or 3 times.
And in that time in college football schemes, they weren't doing a lot of the stuff that they do now, jet sweep
Right.
and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
But Texas Tech was, because Crabtree was coming up during my years, and
I would have thought,
Fitzgerald at Pittsburgh.
yeah, I would have thought West Virginia would have been the
I
spot.
took a visit there
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I took a visit there too.
It would have been about playing NCAA, the video game. This would have been a little bit later because you graduated high school, what year? 2003?
03, yeah.
Okay, so you're a year ahead of me. But you get into those like 05, 6, 7, West Virginia, Steve Slayton, Pat White, Owen Schmidt, and then Noel Devine coming behind them, and Tavon Austin and those guys. That would have been a fun one.
Yeah.
So then you transfer from Iowa to Rutgers. And what was the reasoning for that?
I had got suspended from Iowa for letting somebody write my paper. School found out. They wanted me.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I didn't get suspended for it, but I did it. If anyone, administrators from Irvine Valley College are listening to this, I tuned in.
And the thing about it is that, like, it was in a rhetoric class. 90% of us were football players, and the teacher, I think, I know she had she's biased against us, and she thought me and my teammate had cheated off each other, but we couldn't have, because the girl wrote his paper and the girl wrote my paper, and they wanted me to confess.
Like we cheated, but not the way that you think.
Right, yeah. They wanted me to confess to it, and I wasn't going to give them up, and, they wanted me to confess about it, and I had a meeting with, the whole board and everything, and they were like, you either apologize and say that you did it, or we suspend you for 1 year. And I was like, all right, just suspend me. Like, I'm not going to, give up, anybody. And they didn't know I cheated or whatever, or had a girl that write my paper, but they just wanted me to, like,
Was it Amy? Did Amy write your
No,
paper?
no, it was a different girl that I was seeing at the time. But, so, I decided to, they wanted me to confess to cheating, and they wanted me to apologize to the teacher. And I was like, apologize for what? Because I didn't cheat.
Yeah.
I wasn't going, even though, girl,
but
I wasn't going to give her up.
Yeah.
Or anything. And so
then you're back in Jersey at Rutgers, and a pretty formidable Rutgers team, probably one of the best teams Rutgers ever had.
Yeah.
Ray Rice, Brian Teal.
Yep. Brian Leonard. And,
Brian Leonard. So this is with Greg Schiano as your coach,
Kenny
right?
Britt, Schiano,
And so you're playing wide receiver at Rutgers, and in this best season for Rutgers, playing the West Virginia team that I was referring to. Take me back to this game.
Yeah. So that game, it was my first year playing, because transferring, I had to sit out. And so coming into my junior redshirt year, I'm playing, starting the slot guy. and I'm playing good. I'm getting the ball and everything. They are making plays for me and stuff. Even though we have Ray, we're starting off good. We're going in 8-1. Well, we had a big game that year. Pandemonium Piscataway. If anybody look it up on YouTube, where what's his name, Brian
Brom
Brom from Louisville. Yeah, they were number 2 and we were 11 or 15 at that time, and we beat them. And
man, talk about a year for Big East football.
That was
back
huge.
Then. That was like the best year of Big East football ever.
Right. And then after beating them, we ended up becoming number 3 in the nation. And then the next week we lose to Cincinnati. And then we played Pittsburgh. Syracuse. We beat them. And then the West Virginia game, last game of the season. So if we would have won this game, we would have won the Big East title.
Go to the Orange Bowl with that?
Yeah. Right. And so, playing the game, I had a catch, I had a good drive. And it was this play called Topper, to where, it's doubles to the right side. I'm at the Z. I'm on the outside. Tight end has a post. Slot guy has a post. And then I have the deep post. Now, I can remember just not running the route my best. And as soon as I break to get out and I'm open, wide open, and Till threw a perfect pass, and it came to me late, and I go like this. And the ball slips out right in the end zone. Mm-hmm. And Topper was one of my favorite plays that we always ran, and I never missed it. But that one game, missed it, and I could just remember sitting down and oh my goodness. And then walking back, and I could just see players not wanting to look at me, coaches upset and everything, and then that right there defined who I am today and defined the rest of my career, because of the reaction from others.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me more about that. How do you feel like it defined the rest of your career? So I'm very interested to hear, kind of what going forward, playing, being on the practice squad with the Bears, athletically, we could line you up today at 36 years old.
That's the thing.
Yeah, against any current NFL player, and you are as or more physically gifted than they are. But you're sitting here talking to me after we lifted some weights in the garage rather than at NFL training camp.
Right.
So, how did that impact your football career?
That's the thing. It goes back to, if I'd had a male figure in my life, he would have kept me straight, or I wouldn't have been so much invested in my talent. I always felt like my talent was a gift and a curse, because I never had anybody actually show me how to respect my talent. Never had anybody tell me, hey, even though you have the talent, you still have to work hard. Coming up through, grade school, playing Little League, I always was the fastest, always was the most athletic kid. Always scored all the touchdowns, always got the praises. Even with the praises, I got so much of the praises to where I never had anybody say, hey, you need to, relax, chill out. You still have to work hard. You still have to be humble. Get to high school, praises just intensify more, right? Never felt like I have to work hard. And that was the thing. Me not having to work hard played over into going into college. Just being with girls, just partying. Oh, I could run routes in my sleep. I'm the fastest. I'm this, I'm that. So the hard work never was cemented for me while I was in college. And so by me not working hard, by me taking advantage of my gift, I feel as if God allowed that to happen. So if I would have worked hard, I would have ran that route hard. I would have planned it. The ball would have been there, and I would have caught it. But by me not having, the work ethic of working hard, it laid out to where, coaches would blackball me, or my last year at Rutgers, teammates didn't trust me. I started to doubt who I was as a football player. But then but then later on in life, till today, it led me to appreciate hard work even more.
So, just from the football standpoint, do you think the next year as you go into the draft process, and we were talking yesterday about your pro day, you were 2 weeks or 2 months rather of a microfracture knee surgery, and still that was 4.3940, 41 and a half inch vertical, 21 reps of 225,
See,
11.5.
The thing about it, I never had a problem with performing. It was just that the hard work wasn't there.
So do you think that play, that drop, was something that
Woke me up?
Do you think it's something that NFL scouts were like, oh, we don't know about this guy, and that they
it could have been, it could have played out. Cause I know for a fact that it didn't sit well with Shiano. There's a lot of things like I could go into about how he treated me afterwards, and this is why that now when I'm coaching my athletes now, I tell them, hey, I would never get upset at you. I would never raise my voice at you. Like, if you don't give me your effort, I would just say, hey, all right, we're done for the day. Go home. We'll rebound it tomorrow. I'm like that because of the treatment that I had got from, my previous coaches. Like, being a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, from the projects, no kid should get that treatment. Because you never know how a kid could handle it mentally, and even after that drop, and then even after not being the player who I thought or dreamed that I can be, that everybody wanted me to be, because ultimately I was playing football for everybody else, and my senior year, just how it was and how I ended it with the knee surgery and everything, and then drops, and then not feeling getting the praise from people anymore. It ultimately led me to trying to commit suicide, because of the pressure, and that was like 3 weeks before the pro day, getting ready for the pro day. So it was just so much, man. It was just, I was living in my own world that I thought I was too good to even go to practice for track, too good to even work as hard as the next guy,
The suicide attempt, though, was not something I was aware of that had been a part of your life. So do you feel like that was just a thing of, you felt like you were letting people down?
Big time.
Yeah.
And then when I would try to work hard, to get ready for the pro day and do it at the pro day, I just felt like that I couldn't. It would just go on. It just wasn't there,
Wasn't there from a desire to work for it standpoint, because
right.
From a performance standpoint, I can objectively tell you it was still there.
Yeah.
If 41 and a half inch vertical is not there, I think a lot of people would take that that not there. So you feel like once you got in the NFL and you were a practice squad with the Bears, that it was just not something you were passionate about?
Yeah, it was just, felt like that I would, here I go, I would have to work hard again, really have to work hard, going from a practice squad onto, a contract, and which they ultimately wanted to give me, but I walked away from it, because I just, at that level, and you would know, completing at a high level, this football has to be your number one. Jiu-jitsu have to be your number one. Powerlifting, whatever you're doing, that has to be, if you're looking to be the best, be one of the best, be one of the 53 guys on the roster, that has to be your number one. And it just wasn't. It just wasn't. And I look back on it a lot, and it was like, sometimes I'll be like, man, I could have been this player, but just certain avenues and how I grew up and how I approached it just wasn't the right way,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that's kind of almost surprising, I guess, for me to hear, because we've known each other for probably
7 years.
Yeah, I mean more so for probably 4 or 5 years. Like we met probably
Yeah,
7 or 8 years ago,
yeah.
and when we met and you were doing the powerlifting meet, powerlifting, in quotes, meet at the CrossFit gym, and I was judging. And I was like, oh, this is not what I expected. I didn't expect you to be there. But you know, the James Townsend that I've known for the last 4 or 5 years seems like he's so much the hard worker, so much the opposite of a lot of what you're describing. Yeah. So as we're looking at it from just like a athletic football standpoint, I kind of want to transition to the training you do with your daughters and with other kids. If there was a physical or a technical part of football that you struggled at the most, what would you say it would have been?
Mental.
Mental part, but like, so you don't think like route running, anything like that? No, because so commonly, if you follow the draft and recruiting and all this stuff, you see the guys who are the really fast track guys.
Yep.
And they say, oh, he's just got the track speed, his straight line speed.
I had both.
Yeah, both the change direction
in and out.
and
in and out of my breaks, everything.
Well, you're ruining my analogy because what I had always assumed kind of was, not knowing a lot about your football career, just besides like the places you went and how fast and strong and stuff you are. I always sort of figured, I was like, oh, maybe James was that kind of guy. He was run these great 40 times, but like maybe he couldn't run great routes or didn't have a good change of direction. So let's pretend that was the case, just for the sake of discussion.
Right.
Because I'm sure guys like that, or you've seen guys like that.
Yeah.
And as I thought about it, I always figured, I was like, guys like you, or guys like, Xavier Carter,
yeah,
LSU.
Yeah, he was third fastest in the nation. I was sixth.
Yeah. So, yeah, he and I were same year for school. So I see him, Arcadia, track meets, all that stuff.
Okay.
Or guys like Trindon Holiday, or
he's from Florida, right? Xavier Carter.
Yeah.
Because it was him. Remember the other guy from Florida that actually made the Walter Dix?
Walter Dix,
Yeah.
So, whether it's those football track combo guys, Xavier Carter, Trindon Holiday, Jeffrey Demps, this blazing fast dudes, but they, even like a guy like John Ross, who's maybe he's been hurt but not having a great career thus far, think they're so fast but they can't change direction. So I always wonder about guys like that, because how you describe it, you were always the fastest. So when you're playing Pop Warner football or youth football or whatever, they're probably just like, all right, let's just give James a toss. Just toss it to James. He's gonna turn the corner. He's running up the sideline.
Absolutely
70 yards,
right. Yeah.
And then you get to high school, and like, all right, just James, just run a streak, and just run past everyone. And then you get to college, and saying kind of the same thing. But as the level gets higher and higher, like it gets harder to run past the dudes. And I wonder sometimes with those guys who are always the fastest guy, if because they could always just get the corner and run up the sideline, right, that they don't have the moves because they never had to like develop them when they were a kid. What does you think that's kind of an accurate assessment? Maybe not for you particularly, but
for most fat guys, yeah, most fat guys, they could beat you off the line and then get right over top of you and then boom for a streak route. But can they beat you off the line, get 10 yards, run a Houston route? Either, you have a linebacker on your inside, your right side, you would turn in. Or if you have a linebacker on your left side, you'll hook out. Can they get out of that break that quick? Most fast guys can't, because they can't break down fast. You know what I mean? It's like they can't hit that 1, 2, 3, boom, out.
So what I always wonder about it is, I don't think that there's something that's physically mutually exclusive about being the fastest in a straight line and being able to change direction. They're not like being super fast and having great endurance, where they can't exist together.
Right.
Right. I wonder if it's more of like a nature versus nurture kind of thing. If they don't nurture those qualities because they don't need to, so it's a guy who's
I mean, it with football, it's always led to believe that like, hey, if this guy can run a 4.2, we don't need him to run good routes.
Yeah.
Just but he's a wide receiver. He needs to run good routes.
Yeah, I think it would take a special, as you were saying, that strong figure in your life, even just from an athletic sense, whether that's a dad, a big brother, or a coach, to be like, hey, I know that you can run past everyone, but we're not just going to do that because there's going to be a time where you can't just run past everyone.
Right.
So let's learn how to do all the small stuff. Like my boy River, who just signed with the 49ers on Wednesday, shout out to Riv. He played at Washington State, so under Mike Leach, Texas Tech guy. He's a white wide receiver from Orange County. He's like a Wes Welker, Edelman, kind of. Those are his guys. Probably run 4.6, 4.65. Runs great routes. Makes the right read all the time. And Marissa and I were commenting to each other. We're like, can you believe that like Rivers was better at football than James is, or than James was? And we're like, that's kind of crazy because if we stood you guys next to each other, no one would think that. But yeah, I've always just thought about that people don't develop those skills because they don't get like kind of forced into it by a coach, that someone isn't telling them like, hey, I know that you could just do this. You think that you could just do this, but like if you really want to be great, you got to do all this other stuff.
Right.
So I think it's guys like Jerry Rice, who's just like a 4.6 40 guy, nothing amazing physically, but because he has to exhaust all other options to success, he gets so good at those other things.
Right.
Or even like a basketball player, like Steph Curry. No one was like, oh, look how fast this guy is. Look how high he can jump. How big and strong he is. Like, it's like I got to get great handle, great shooting, like the stuff that you could control a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of kids who have always been the fastest and strongest, your daughters, I brag about them to all my friends. My friends got kids. I'm like, sorry, your kids will never impress me. You see these kids? They've ruined me for every other kid. Princess P, Freya, they're amazing. I think the most impressive thing maybe is just how well Freya follows directions. I'm always showing my friends with kids the videos of Perseus jumping on boxes when she's 1 year old and not even 1 year old. Like, what was that like? Like, how did that start? That
it was just by us being in sports, it's like when you see a child do something, you're like, I wonder if they could do this, because at 3 months she was crawling, 7 months she was walking.
What's a typical timeline on that
for crawling?
Yeah,
maybe 6, 7, 6, 7 months, and she was just ahead of the game, just so far ahead. And even when she was walking at 7, she was walking crooked. And so we had took her to her pediatrician because we were worried that something was wrong with her right foot. Pediatrician's like, no, she just shouldn't be walking right now. Her body is still growing. She needs to get stronger. But
so when he told you that, it was like, all right, let's just strap a sled on her.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because she was
just start crawling with a sled.
She was walking, with a limp, and then when she would have her little toy thing pushing, she would, go with a limp. And not just that, but like her climbing at 7 months, climbing onto things, climbing on top of the bed. It was just amazing. So, and then she was always in the gym with me. Clearly she was watching, because one day when she was 10 months, done working out, I take her out of her stroller, play around. She goes right to a 2.5 pound dumbbell and started doing dumbbell snatches. Because
that was probably the workout that day. She's like, I've been watching people do this all day.
Yeah.
Daddy, so this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And that right there, that's when I was like, all right, let me see if you could do this. I brought out a 10 pound plate. She jumps on it. All right. 15, jumps on it. 45. jumps on it. And so studies say that kids shouldn't be able to jump off of 2 feet until they're 2 years old. It's a 10-month-old doing it. I'm like, okay, hang from the bar. She's hanging by herself. Go on the ring. She's hanging. And then she's doing the hollow open, swinging, and as she's getting older, 1 year old, the boxes, the plate started getting higher. Going to the ring, she's doing pull-ups.
How old was she when she could do it? When she could pull herself up?
1.5. Yeah.
Well, I'm like 34. I'm still bad at that sometimes.
Yeah, and it's just the stuff from her just seeing, and then me just getting her. Remember Wad Toys? Remember when they were out?
Okay.
She had stuff like that. She would have like a barbell, and she would pick it up, put her hands on, she would squat down, chest up. She'd bring it to her back, and then she would do perfect squats. And like all this stuff, I would like document, like. And
this is just from her watching.
Yeah. And it was fun. And then she came to 2 years old, and I remember you sharing. This is where I just opened up my gym in Moore Park. I remember you sharing her jumping on a 4-pound plate at 2. And, and that one always shows up. And then by her jumping onto the plate and how she jumping it, and her control, her balance, stability is like.
Yeah, especially like when she would run up and then like 2 foot a jump stop and into a jump. Yeah, that was, I mean, so all of it is remarkable. Yeah, but it's pretty amazing to see. So I love watching the videos and stuff, and sometimes I think I was like, how. Because you guys got to have people coming up to you all the time, whether it's at gymnastics there or comments on the internet. I'm sure there's negative stuff, but people who are just like, oh, she's going to be this, great thing, and it's like, oh, she's a little girl still. Yeah. That little documentary that they did where it's like she's going and doing the workout, and then she's in her room playing with her dolls, and it's like, well, even though she could do this stuff that kids twice her age. I mean, I have 13, 11, and 9-year-old nieces, and P just turned 7. I'm pretty sure she could beat up my 13-year-old niece if they got into it. But, so she's doing stuff that's like kids twice her age. How do you manage her own expectations around her? Because it's like I figure it's got to be that you're giving her enough push and you're capable of doing this, but not letting her get overwhelmed. I mean, how do you manage that?
I don't want to. Fall into that trap of, she's 7 years old. It's a constant reminder that she's 7 years old. She's still a kid. She still needs to play. She still needs to be a kid. Even though she has the skill set, as a gymnast to be with 13, 14, 15-year-olds, I don't want that pressure on her that, right away. She needs to be with kids, her age or maybe a year or two older, to help her build the confidence. But then again, I'm not a professional gymnastics coach. I'm just her father. I'm her coach, father. But I'm her coach in a way of keeping her emotions and mentality stable. And by me and Amy not falling into that hype as I did, I think it works. I know it works out best for her that way, because she has it. It's like she gets so much expectations from us, not for a physical standpoint, but for her at home. Like, all right, you should be cleaning your room. You should do this. You should know better. And this and that. And then we sit back and we're like, wait a minute. She's only 7 years old. Like, yeah. But we fall into that trap because she's so high skill level physically. And then her mental, for her to engage into a talk, for her to know exactly what to do, for me to show her how to do a bar muscle ups in 3 minutes, and then she gets it. That plays over into our parenting to where it's like, all right, you should be able to know this. But then again, you're 7.
Yeah, Marissa and I were talking about that with Freya. She's so good at following the directions move her feet wide, her chest up, when she's doing a squat.
Yeah.
She really gets it. And I'm like, it makes me think like, oh, she must be like perfect at home. I know she's not.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, well, why can't you follow directions at school,
Yep.
like you do at the gym, and why can't you, when it's time to eat, like, why?
Yeah. So it's just it's that. It's me and Amy releasing the reins. Well, especially me releasing the reins and trusting that she can be brave enough and smart enough to take the next step in furthering her skills in gymnastics or whatever she wants to do.
And that the bravery side of things and the self-confidence and self-esteem, like, I mean, there are some of those videos where it's hard to not get kind of choked up, watching them. Even for me, because it's just like the sweetest moments of these little girls being so empowered by what you guys do, and it's just an amazing thing to watch, man. It's incredible. Commend you, and Amy is just doing such an incredible job with those girls. I'm excited about Disneyland for Freya's 5th birthday next year. I was rubbing it in when I said that I got invited, so I told her maybe she could come with me. But and now you coach a lot of kids as well, from those young kids up to some incredibly talented high school aged kids. So when you're looking at the young kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, what's sort of the first criteria that you look for of like, okay, this kid is ready to do some training, some formal, semi-formal training?
So for me, I go by the air squat. For me, that lets me know if a kid has the body mechanics, the body awareness, and the first 2 minutes, if they could understand, if they could just give me 2 minutes of setting markers. Because first, kids from 6, 7, and 8, I have them stand there with their hands behind their back and just watch me, right? And then if I'm demonstrating, if I'm using P or Frey as a demonstration, I still have them stand that way and look at them doing it, right? But if I'm working with a new kid one-on-one, they got to give me 2 minutes.
2 minutes of attention.
2 minutes of attention,
yeah.
Right? So set the markers. If they could put their feet there, right? Remember to put their feet down, because I'll help them get there. But then when I'm done demonstrating and helping them, I need to see you do it of what we just went through. And if they could do that, but also show me the right body mechanics of pushing their knees out, keeping their chest up, and I always have them start like this, then it's perfect. Then I'm like, all right, let me see you go here and do the same thing. And then if they do it right, then I introduce the barbell for a front squat. And that's most kids, if they knees start going in and they curling, I won't even introduce a barbell. We'll keep on working on that, and I'll regress it and go to the rig on a pole, have them grab the pole, and I still make the marks. Put your feet on the marks, knees out, keep your chest up, and go into a squat. Have them do that a couple of times, and then we'll step back, act like you're holding the pole, and do the squat. Remember, make sure your knees is out. I always use my 2 fingers and I'll let them know, like, hey, I'm gonna put my 2 fingers here to help you push, hinge at the hips, knees out, chest up.
Do you find with Perseus particularly being so, phenomenal, that there's more kids from our school and parents who are like, I'm trying to see what this girl's doing. We want to do this. The more people are getting drawn in by it than people who are like, oh, I don't want to.
No, absolutely. Because she be at, before COVID, when she was at school in the playground, she's showing kids how to do burpees, air squats, pullovers. I'm like, P, you can't be doing that. But then the parents go home and tell them, like, hey, this is what P showed me. But then they also, they follow her, on Instagram and TikTok, and they see the videos and stuff. But most of the kids that I have in my gym are, they're kids from their parents being members of the gym. I think other parents that see what P can do kind of scare them off, because her level of
Yeah,
athleticism.
they're probably thinking like, well, my kids aren't ready to do all
right.
that,
or she shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of education that needs to be had with other parents and stuff.
I mean, what grade is she in? Second grade. I was telling you yesterday about how we had all these really high level athletes that came out of my elementary school at junior high, but I'm trying to think, basically, like how, I'm in second grade. My mom's shopping in the Husky Jean section for me. I was
Lee Dungarees,
maybe, but I was stocky. I was always a stocky kid, 10 pounds at birth, and there was a time when I hurt my knee in a basketball game, and like the team mom comes over and looks at it, and she's like all nervous, and she calls my mom over. She's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "His knee is so swollen," and my mom's like, "Look at the other one. Like that's how they are." So I didn't have the long angular body of a Townsend, so I'm thinking probably in second grade, like I was still like always a really athletic kid, but he probably would have been mopping me up on like kickball or something. I don't know how would have reacted to that. Like going home, like, "Mom, Dad, there's a girl at school who's faster and better than all of us at everything." I'm not sure if as a 2-year-old I would have been like, we gotta start training. We gotta figure out what's going on. Or if I would have just been like, I give up. I quit everything.
Yeah. I mean, I get messages with people like, "Hey, I bring my daughter to the gym a lot and she wants to do stuff. How can I start with them?" And, I just like I said with the air squat, hey, it's just see if they could perform an air squat, and by you introducing an air squat, see if they can give you your attention. Because most kids, they want to look around and, they'll run away and you got to call them back. I give kids one chance to run away. If you run away, you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
You're not ready yet. It's no use into forcing, a child that young to do something like this.
When you have like kids class at your gym, how long is the class?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. They can make it through that pretty well?
Yeah.
Because
the reason why they can make it through it because it becomes a teaching moment. Like, I like to they always ask, "How much is the bar?" And I'll say, it's 5 pounds or 15 pounds. And then I was like, all right, we're going to put on, 5 pounds on each side.
Mix a little math lessons in there.
Math lessons, right. Avery, how much is this? Nobody say anything. All right, well, you got, this is 15-pound bar, 5 pound, all right, 25 pounds. Yeah.
You're just getting it all done. I feel like in the age of COVID, schools are closing down. You got the James Townsend School for Exceptional Children going on, man. That's great. I don't know if there would have been anything I would have loved more as that aged kid than to be able to go and do the stuff that you guys are doing.
Me too, man. I mean,
I have two much older brothers, 12 and 9 years older than me. So when I was like 5 years old, my oldest brother Adam was playing high school football, and had like a bench press and stuff in the garage. And I remember thinking, like, man, my brother is so strong. Like him and all his friends, like they're jacked. Right. They showing me, we're watching Bloodsport and Terminator and Commando. I'm all in Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rocky montage, all this stuff. And like just thinking, like, I want to be like at Sunday school. My mom said that they asked, they tell a David and Goliath story. Who wants to be David? Who wants to be Goliath? And I'm like, Goliath. I know he lost, but he was really big. That sounds awesome. So I was just always into that, and there was no outlet for it really at that age besides just playing sports, which was all day, every day. But the first year that I was going to play junior All-American football, I was taking the bungee cords like that you'd use to tie stuff down the back of a truck. Like found as many of them as I could in the garage. And I tied myself up with them to a tree in the backyard, and I was running against the bungee cords, bungee resistant. In place?
Yeah.
I was 8 years old, just by myself, just setting it up. So if I could have gone to the James Townsend, school for youth weightlifting, I would have been there every day.
I was the same way, man. The Rocky montages, the Bruce Lee movies. That's why when we were working out in the back, you mentioned my wings. I was like, I got wings now. Because I remember as a kid, when Bruce Lee, when every time he opened up like a cobra, I was like, I want wings, just like Bruce Lee. Want wings, you know, Rocky montage, no holds bar with Hulk Hogan, you know, and yeah, man, that was, I used to always just, because my uncle was a black belt in kickboxing, so I would always work out with him and stuff, and my two older brothers always wanted to play, so I was always the youngest too, that always wanted to work out and do stuff, karate, boxing, you know, jiu-jitsu, all that, you know.
James, so happy to have you on the team.
Thank you, man.
So happy to see the Townsend family thriving, growing. Excited for this son. I'm nervous for him.
Me too.
I'm nervous for him.
Oh man, right? The pressure is just not that I'm putting it on him or Amy, but it's just, you know, maybe the siblings to put on with. Well, you can't lift more than me.
I'm worried that the girls got James' side, and I mean, Amy is a wonderful woman, but she's not quite the same genetic materials that you brought to the table. So I'm a little nervous for the little man to come, but you know, very excited for the family and everything. Nice lifting today, and cheers, my man.
Cheers.